friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome in if you are new here. If you don't know me, my name is Avery, my pronouns are she, her, and I am a variety streamer on Twitch. Today I'm going to be going over a Huntress guide if you are new to Dead by Daylight or playing Killer, or would just like to advance your skills better with playing Huntress. So let's get into it. Before we start this video, I do just want to say these are some tips and tricks that personally have helped me and some things that I've recognized in the game, and I was hoping maybe they would help you too. I play mostly Killer in Dead by Daylight and I do main Huntress. Huntress is a high skilled killer that allows you to throw hatchets at survivors. She has strong add-ons but does suffer from bad locker placements and does have a high map dependency, meaning she's weaker on certain maps. Huntress is not a stealth player either. You can hear her lullaby all throughout the map, and whenever she gets close to a survivor, her lullaby becomes way louder. But Huntress killers who have perfected their aim are pretty unstoppable in my opinion. And I'm gonna say something a little controversial, but in my opinion, I believe you don't need to make cross hatchet snipes to be considered a great Huntress. I feel like what makes a great Huntress is being 2 steps ahead of the survivor, knowing where they're gonna go, and perfecting the timing of throwing your hatchets at the survivors in order to down them. So let's just cut to the chase. Huntress's teachable perks are horrible. I never use them. But using other killers' perks on Huntress makes her pretty OP in my opinion. So here are the perks that I use on Huntress. I use Corrupt Intervention, which is a plague perk. And I think this is great for slowing down generator progression. Spies from the Shadows is a really good perk, especially if you tend to lose survivors during a chase. I honestly never really used this until recently, and it's Bitter Murmur. So each time a generator is fully repaired, survivors within 16 meters of the completed generator will be revealed for 5 seconds. And lastly, I use Jolt. Whenever you put a survivor in the dying state with your basic attack, it makes the generators explode within 32 meters of you, which is pretty good, and it also prevents generator progression. And for my add-ons, I'm using the Infantry Belt, which adds 2 extra hatches onto my original 5 hatches, and I'm also using Rusty Head, which inflicts mangled on survivors when hit with my hatches. One of the main things to know about Huntress is the 2 different versions of her throwing hatches. If you don't hold down your hatch, you can throw it, and these are more arced. They're more likely to hit survivors over objects. Next is her fully charged hatchet throw, and you will hear a sharp sound cue when you know that it is fully charged. This hatchet throw is faster and quicker and has less of an arch. Also, if you're already mid windup to throw that hatchet, just cancel it by pressing your basic attack button. So I know it's not always the easiest to control your hatches. When first hitting a survivor, throw your hatch at them even when they're close. Don't use your basic attack. This is because the swing cooldown when throwing hatchets is a lot shorter than the actual hatchet hit, and you will get a better chance of catching up with the survivor for the second hit to easily down them. The next tip is do not be afraid to throw your hatchets. Throw them. Just throw them. If you miss them, it's okay. Just throw them. Some good add-on perks for beginners are these 2 add-ons right here for Huntress. They allow you to carry more than 5 hatchets, which means you can practice throwing them more without worrying about them running out right away. But it's okay if you don't hit every hatchet throw. Throwing the hatchets will better your aim and will get used to the skill of throwing your hatchets. Since we're on the topic about throwing hatchets, do not flick. Do not flick. You can flick, obviously, but it's not always preferred. It doesn't always help. Dead by Daylight is not an FPS game. Flicking your hatchets doesn't really help with guarantee of hitting a survivor. It's more important to be 2 steps ahead and predict what the survivor is going to do so they more so walk into your hatchet. Trust me, I have this problem. I am a big Valorant player, so I tend to flick my hatchets and miss every single time. The next tip is don't wait for your hatchets to run out. So let's say you're like short a hatchet or 2. That's totally fine. When you're holding about 1 or 2 hatchets, start reloading. You don't want to be reloading mid-chase and then lose a survivor. The next tip is all about aiming and timing, kind of one of the most important ones. When chasing survivors in a loop, they're usually being blocked by objects. It's important to aim slightly higher than the objects to avoid hitting the object. You want to aim for the survivor. Trust me, sometimes it's not going to look like it's going to hit the survivor, but it will. It's kind of like an illusion. Also, when aiming for the survivors, it's very important to aim for those corners when they are turning. This is why it's so important to be 2 steps ahead and kind of predict and know know what the survivor is going to do and where they're going to go, so you can easily be ready to aim that hatchet. And if you're quick enough, you will get those corner hits every time. Do be aware though, because more advanced survivors already know of this Huntress trick and kind of tend to use dead hard whenever they are turning corners, so be prepared for that. It's not always super ideal to follow the survivor exactly where they go, but kind of predict what exit they're going to take and surprise attack them right there. The next tip is to use survivors vaulting to your advantage. When survivors vault over windows and planks, use that to your advantage to throw those hatchets as they vault. You'll come across more advanced survivor players who will fake vault, which can mess up and or waste a hatchet throw. Pay attention to the item a survivor is carrying. If they're going to actually go for the vault, their item will disappear, which is the perfect time for you to throw that hatchet. And lastly, one of the more harder tips that even I kind of have trouble following, but it's knowing when to give up a chase. You don't want to give up a chase right away, but sometimes it's important to give up a chase because a survivor that you're chasing for a long period of time can be distracting you so their teammates can finish a generator and escape. I kind of give myself like a little timer. Like I ask myself, can I actually down this person in 25 seconds in this chase, or are they going to loot me forever? And if that's the case, I kind of just give it up and I come back to them later. These are pretty much all the tips that helped me 4K with Huntress. And if you made it to the end, comment down below who you main as a survivor or a killer. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like to see more Dead by Daylight killer content, please let me know. Comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will see you all next time. Bye!